What's up? Where is everything? Invite. Some of these people never show up. Invite. Let's invite everybody. Probably not. Okay. Well, should be an interesting journey. We'll see what happens. Working on the video. I'll show you a little bit of it. All right. Just I don't know where to go with it all. So, anyways, let's see what's going on here. Why we got big blanks? Okay. Still trying to figure it out. So, what do we do? Well, let's see if we can get this video up. Hey, look at that dude right there, super, super handsome.
All right, well, this is the trail that I walked up.
Now, this video is very short, and the courtesy of Randall Bell, which I believe is a real researcher in the field and is trying to understand as best as we can what the heck we're dealing with.
And then we got this big guy.
Then we got this big guy. I think part of what he's talking about is a big giant tree line. But you might not realize this, and you probably can't see it. But there's some pretty wild things going on in this image. So what we want to do is we want to go where do we want to go? That's the good question. Where do we want to go? Well, I'm going to get in here, the September files, look under what is going on. And I want to reassure you some weird things going on. I don't know if I showed you much about my weird things going on, but for instance, something like this. Something like this, they dare tell you is pareidolia. That's one hell of a piece of pareidolia, don't you think? Wow. Mother Nature did a fantastic job of tricking this guy. Look at that eye, look at that eye, look at that nose, mouth, head. Just popping up just right there. I caught it on film. I don't even think this image is actually even altered by me. I don't think. Anyways, I think we saw this guy already. You might have seen him from last night time. Some of the entities that I captured, blah blah blah. There's lots of them. Anyways, get out of this. Get out of this. Get out. Okay, here we go. This is an amazing photo by Randall Bell. Now he's going through a little park to doing his little research thing, and I don't think that image was his. To be honest with you, that was somebody else's. But this thing, this is a piece of work. This is amazing. This thing right here, the red thing on top of it, either that's his hair, like some freaking troll that you might have saw in a movie. Right? But there's a lot going on in this image because he's not alone. He's got a buddy right here. I don't know if you ever saw him. There's a mean looking Chinese looking guy here with a white head and the freaking blonde hair and something on top of his head. We got one right here with an arm extended. We got one right here with his little baby something, two-headed baby something, and but you can see his two eyes and he's a big. This is just an amazing photo. Right here we got an all-seeing eye. I don't even know if you can see what I'm doing. This is all from Randall Bell from that short video and one still. And here's another one right here, the fro. But you got the all-seeing eye thing right here. I mean, can you see that? I wish I had someone to talk to besides talk at. But can you guys see the all-seeing eye? Can you see the dude with the fro? Can you see the hooded black dude? And then these are things just appearing, and you never get the whole body. You just get the head. And it's not pareidolia. Anyways, hello to Steve, Stendell, Trent. Thank you for joining me. I'm surprised that you joined me so much, but Trent's a pretty cool dude. You ought to check out the stuff that he and John Watson are doing. That if you want to really grow up in the reality of things, especially when it comes to scripture. In fact, we probably will be listening to some of that too about Don K. Preston's research on Satan. I think you could be quite surprised. And then, if what he says is true, then what the heck are we dealing with here? Carlos, thank you. Another Steve Brooks, thank you for joining me. Frankie Smith, thank you. Chad Smith, thank you. Sandra Lambert. And Deborah, faithful Deborah. So we got some pretty crazy stuff going on here, and I think that, quite frankly, Randy Bell did an amazing job. An amazing picture that is pretty indisputable, and it gives a lot of indication about, say, totems poles and what they're all about stacking here. We can learn about a little bit about stacking and how they connect with each other. What are these things? They're not Bigfoot, but yet some people swear, like this thing right here is a Bigfoot. We saw something that looked just like Bigfoot and say that's Bigfoot. Somebody has seen stuff like this, which is like this half ape or half monkey thing, big black eyes is Bigfoot. Or there's always the traditional, black one with the two eyes and this kid's. Of course, if you look really deeper into this, there's actually more going on to that. Then you got this crazy thing. Now, what is this thing? I notice they're all running together up to the tree. Things to look for. You got this thing right here. I don't know. It's like Fro dude, which could be the same thing, because over here, which I'm going to try to show you through this course of this time, there's another entity just like that. It's kind of like a cat. But on top of that, there is actually a dog-like thing, dog man. You got this face right here, and then you got this one. It's kind of got like the alien one. You can see the big eye and all that. And by the way, this is just a few of the ones. If you were to look at this picture in detail, spend the time, you're gonna go, wow. When I saw this last night, I'm like, holy camole! This is like one of the most powerful images of forest spirits that I've seen. Now, here's another one right here. What is this all about? What are these things? Hey, Brandy, how you doing? Hey, we're talking about your stuff right now. This is amazing. By the way, thank you, Randy, so much for letting me share this with people, because I honestly think it's one of the most telling and one of the most powerful images that someone's captured of these entities that live in the forest. Now, this is the one right here that he captured. This is the one. It's like this red thing on top, most like it's like a big, like a troll doll. You see the two eyes, the nose kind of over the branch a little bit. You see the big fat white head. I mean, these things are cartoonish, but they're real. You got this one right here. That's your traditional beat up looking Bigfoot thing, right? Then you got this one, which is almost got like alien characteristics because of the big eye. This one I just find fascinating, because this is like one of the entities that I know people have seen and swore that it's Bigfoot. You see the big black eyes that it has, the white head. It even has like whitish hair flowing down, and this Chinese kung fu thing going on top of his head, which wouldn't be surprised. It's just another spirit. I'm wondering if these smaller spirits are almost like pets to them. I just don't know. So you got this one right here, the alien type one. You got the ghostly beat up face Bigfoot one. You got the troll doll one. You actually got one next to the troll doll one right here. Then you got this guy. He's crazy looking, but not only crazy looking is he, but I don't know if I'll be able to flip this around and brighten this up, but there's like a head right here. He's like chewing on a woman's head. I know it sounds crazy. You got this one right here, which I'm going to work on while we're talking and listening. There's one definitely right here. No question about it. Okay, Randy. I don't know if you hear this, but he said he can. So you got this. He's probably got problems because where he's at and the spirits are like, oh my gosh, he shared a picture with Michael Adams. Uh-oh. Now this one is so fascinating. You can see it has a hand right here and a fist shape holding on to something like a branch or whatever. But then there's the arm, and he's raising the arm up. There's his head. He's got a branch running here and right there to kind of screw up the brow area. And then he goes here. Then you have this white-headed freakazoid in front of him. You got this crazy-looking one here. I know it's all blurry, but then back to here, you got this guy and this guy. Like Big Mama Sasquatch thing, and it's freaky baby. So, okay, Randy, I expect you to have a lot of problems. So, just like I would if I was sharing all this stuff. Just like when I share my stuff, I don't know, I guess I don't have as much problems. Actually, you know what? I pretty much resigned myself to these things. I leave the drapes open. Well, I got them closed in one room, only because I was going to do some work in the room, and I would feel like more. I don't know why I close it. Well, maybe for the animals. Maybe I just have it. But normally, like the room I'm in now, I don't even close the blinds anymore. I just like, if I know you're there, what the heck? It's not like they're going away. Now, on top of this trollish looking Bigfoot thing, I don't know what it is, and who knows what it is, to be honest with you. I don't think it necessarily qualifies for Bigfoot because you guys see there's a branch here, right? And the branch is not that big, and then there's a head popping out. As usual, a head popping out of the tree. There's no dangling body anywhere. Maybe there's a potential that the body's hidden behind these branches, but I don't think so. But on top of it, it has like this cat-looking thing. There's an eye here, an eye here. There's a branch running through, but then this thing has this dark running right through the center of it. You can see the shadow of the one side of the head, and just a fascinating hair, kind of like mine almost, sticking up everywhere. Wouldn't even be surprised. Making fun of me. And then on top of that, there is a like a dog, and you can see the two eyes. And there's this troll guy, then there's this cat thing, and then there's this dog thing. As usual, stacking up together, just like a totem. I'm sure, Randy, you got some great stuff. And so, I mean, this is real. This is not even, I haven't even touched these images except put a red line around so you can see that. Now, there was a dog here, but then there's another dog over here that's above the alien-looking dude. So Dogman this is some kind of spirit that you could, let's look up Dogman of Egypt. Egypt, and then we'll go all the places. So Anubis, Inpu. Isn't that interesting? Anubis. Is there a plant? I guess I should just drag it over here, right? So you can see it. Good old trusty Wikipedia. You can't get the details with trusty Wikipedia. What the heck happened here? Oh, well, however that would just work out, that's pretty cool. It's not what I wanted, but so, anyways, so you got this thing here, and everybody thinks it's just a headdress, and it's just something that somebody just made up, and it's all their freaking imagination. And these people are so backwards, and they don't know a darn thing, and they're not as even close to being as progressive as us. And then this shows up, right? Do 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 dog. Dog. Dog head on top of other head on top of the dog head on top of cat head on top of another dog on top of this guy's head and on top of this guy's head. Now, what's interesting is you have all these different types of animals, right? But they called them gods. Well, what if these gods weren't gods at all, but were spirits that interacted and they were influenced by these guys? Now, this is going to be kind of a problem for especially those of us like myself who have a biblical world perspective, because if Don, and it's so far, Don Preston hasn't been wrong about anything that I've studied so far about. It doesn't make him perfect. It just means so far everything I've listened to him seems to be spot on as far as what the book is saying. So what we want to just automatically label all this as demonic. And you know what? I've also had demonic experiences related to these things. But are they all demonic? I don't know. Are they just spirits? Are they part of some spirit realm, something that's just right next to us in reality? But people call them gods because once in a while these things influence. I guess they can influence. I don't know. But if the Bible's correct, and if most people's the proper interpretation, which bothers everybody and bothered me, it took me a long time to accept this, is that demons and fallen angels and unclean spirits are the same thing, and that they, along with Satan, were conquered by Jesus back in that first century and finalized around 70 AD with the destruction of Jerusalem, and that they are all thrown into the lake of fire or something of that nature. Then what are we doing with it today? These things, just the things that always have been in the darkness. What caused or whom caused Satan to fall, to rebel, and a third of the host of heaven? What is it on the other side that's so appealing that they would rebel against God himself? What is really going on? I hope you can understand what I'm getting at here. Now, if you look at all the other traditions of catmen and dogmen, and then, let's see, maybe we should. I'm getting blown up over here on the other side. I don't know why that is, but as far as somebody sending messages to me, no one ever sends any message to me till I'm doing something like this, which is weird. Totem poles. Totem poles. Oonky badinka. Inky dinky, inky dinky doo. So these are like similar to what the Aztecs and the Mayas did, right? So let's look at some of this stuff. I don't know. Intricate hand carved. Let's find totem poles. history. Might have to refine that quest. All right, let's see what we can find here. Totem poles, cars, dogs. I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble here. Get out there. Yeah, maybe we just do this way. Get over. Get on back, Jack. And new plans, Stan. Now, people are going to try to tell you that totem poles are basically representations of nature spirits and that they represent things like the eagle and the wolf and the fox. But amazingly, they can't actually make one look like a wolf and a fox. I mean, that would be too much to ask, right? I mean, they're not sophisticated enough to do such a thing, right? Like the rest of us. If you subscribe to cloaking, the red-headed juvenile is behind the female. Okay. Well, I just want to get. We'll get to there, man. We will get. If you could send it to me as well, Randy, that picture, I can post it up as well for people to look at. But I just want people to think here just a little bit more. And, you know, these totem poles don't look to me like anything like the animals that I see in nature. But I know a lot of these spirits do. Do you think that there's something going on that's, well, let's put it this way, they haven't been telling us? I mean, it's not like they don't lie as far as our wonderful, those involved with the engineering of our culture society, those who are involved in groupthink and getting people to believe one thing or another. If you knew that these things were real, that these spirits were real, and you knew that there were something legit and maybe acquire some kind of worldly or earthly power of some sort, at least manipulating other people in the situation, would you tell other people? Would you tell the slave class that you're a member of? Would they tell you the truth? And would they go way out of their way to get you to convince you that it's just some confused, muddy fable, superstition, folklore? No relevance in your life at all. None whatsoever. Except the problem is it has everything. It's ultimately these things, the potential to influence everything about our lives. They're able to hide themselves right there. If it wasn't for a camera and the technology of a camera, which was originally designed to capture spirits and channeling and seances, try to find these spirits that they were in, to prove that they are real. You know, how much of them are around us? Are they all around us all the time? And we just get glimpses of it? Is this thing with the arm and the head or this ugly looking ogre thing just outside your front door? And you don't even know it. Maybe sometimes when you're really rebellious, maybe God allows them into your front door. You know, one of the problems with preterism that I find is the ineptness of dealing with the spiritual realm. For some reason, based on scripture, that seems we have the assumption that we got all the information in those 66 books. But this troll looking thing is one hell of a looking thing, and we'll see what happens. Here's him again. So you can see here, there's a pretty good deal right here going on as far as this guy and his arm hanging up. This hand, he's probably have a hard time. I can see it. It's grabbing a branch. Meanwhile, this thing right here with his big eyes and his Fu Manchu hairdress thing is just staring you down. But on top of it, you have this dude. It almost looks like he's doing a thumbs up to him. You know, hey, I don't know what's there, but he's got like a little guy right here. And there's a little face, but you can see his two eyes right there. Can you not see the two eyes? There's one right there and one right there. And then you got the head. I mean, it's going into a quote unquote cone shape. But amazingly enough, it's just showing against a branch, a trunk. And the rest of it isn't being seen. You can hear bear, so you can see the eyes there. You can see that sucker's eyes. You can see his little. A lot of these entities that people call Bigfoot too, they have the pushed-in nose. They have this weird-looking, pushed-in, crazy-looking nose. Hey, Kelly. Kelly, a little fish lover. Tim, how's it going, man? Shane. Shane. Sorry about that. I never can remember. I guess it's Sean. It is Sean. What am I saying? Sean Bell. Hey, Susan, thank you for joining, and everybody else. But this is just an amazing photo, and I just don't know if you can tell. Maybe you can't, maybe you can, but it's got a representation of at least several different types of quote-unquote Bigfoot. One is right there with a cone, super black, weird-looking baby thing right there. Then you got the smaller-looking one, right? Some people would call like a grass man or a booger. And then you got the trollish ogre looking one with his big freaking black eyes and his white head. So I hope you can see these things. There's once again the black dude with his little funky looking towel-like baby. There's the Fu Manchu ogre looking Bigfooty thing. Some people call that a booger as well. And then you got the monkey looking one with the. Also, you got something right here too. Grabbing on things. So it's really an amazing photo. And it only gets more bizarre. So there's the one with the cone head and his baby. Manifesting off of a trunk of a tree. It's almost like they use the tree and the life force in the tree to help them kind of project their head. But then again, you hear these things about bodiless spirits, right? Why? The question is why? Why not just show the whole thing? Is it too much? What do the shamans know for real? The real shamans, not the ones that are playing shaman and taking their psychedelics and all the mind-altering drugs, which I'm sure is fun to do. But because we've received a Western slave education, we are just absolutely clueless what's going on. And it's amazing listening to people rant and rave about what they heard on television as if the people that rule your life have any responsibility at all to tell you the truth about anything. In fact, they don't. And if you ever watch the programming of television, as it's programming your brain, the way you think, and it's total mind control. And if you ever notice that you can't think about anything else but what's on the television when it's even if you're not watching the imagery, which is 1,000 times worse, but still it's just like the radio, right? It's driving you to a certain direction. They are hurting you. And it seems like they're hurting us away from these things, because these things have some kind of association with power. And that's the reason why witches conjure these things up, and sorcerers and shamans. And this, I'm starting to think, because quite frankly, I mean, I showed an image earlier, you can go back to the very beginning of this recording, of these things in the windows behind Bush Jr. in the White House. Now, I'm not making this crap up. There's something going on around us, and we can capture them through something to do with the life forces. I don't want to sound new agey, so I'm trying to figure out the right way to, because the new age has got this all wrong. I mean, people who call themselves Christians read the Bible and they can't even accept the fact that Lucifer is the name of the king of Babylon. It was a guy. I mean, it makes it very clear, and it repeats it over and over again to make sure, hey, we're not talking about a fallen angel. We're talking about a guy that once lived. And the Luciferian spirit is really what it is man-centered worship. It's self-centeredness. That men could be like gods. We don't need God. We don't need any help. We'll just do it ourselves. But apparently, they feed this off to us slaves, because apparently these things have some kind of association with the knowledge and understanding of what the world really works like and looks like. Now, you might say that I just a big, I'm conjecturing, a big assumption. And I understand if you do say that, but I'm kind of getting to the point now where there really is some kind of connection. These things drive you once you find them. They're more powerful than a frickin'. Now, this one is very interesting, in my opinion. Is a branch, or is it a branch? A lot of times I find branches and end of branches, things sticking out of it. This is amazing. And as we go on, when we look at the totem with big eyes, right? They like to put the big eyes. Where's a good example of what is this one right here, right? The big eyes. The big eyes. The biggest of eyes. See if we can get there without it bouncing all over the place. But anyways, here's the big eyes. Did the big eyes. A big eyes. And then all of a sudden, out in the Northwest, some dude named Mirandy, who's legit as all get out, turns out, films this. That's a pretty darn big eye. Hey, Donovan, how you doing, brother? just we're looking over one of Brother Randy Bell's photos. Now, this once again this is just an amazing photo. Truly, I mean, this would be a great poster. If I were Randy, I would market this thing. This is bizarre. So here you got this big eye, right? Which once again, totem poles have. These things are stacking up like a totem pole, although it's a broken owl totem pole, you know. Still, they're stacking up. They're running along the branch and they're running up the tree. Now, we go back to the wonderful totem pole that's supposed to be just about spirits. But they tell us, oh, they're just animal spirits. Cool, man. Glad you're doing great, Don. Look at big eyes stacking up. I'm totally convinced at this point the totems simply represent the spirits associated with particular tribes and clans, families of people that some people would call maybe generational spirits or curses or whatever you want to call it, maybe blessings, who knows? There's a reason why these people did this stuff. And it's not just them. All of the Americas did this. In one form or another, even the Incas and the Mayas with their hieroglyphs, it's the same thing. Entities stacking up. But no, it's about eagles, and they just couldn't possibly, like less in the West, right? Because we're all literal. We've been trained to be, everything's got to be, when you say, there's a pig in the sky, there's a pig in the sky. This first thing you visualize is a pig in the blue sky, right? You don't think about actually about demons. Where it would be figurative language. And now we have representative art, imaginative art. But imaginative art looks awfully much like the representation of what's actually in the forest, in the spirit realm, whatever dwells within these trees. Made them out of wood. Just a artistic expression. I think most people would believe that until you start researching this stuff in the forest and you see them stacking up. So you got the all-seeing eye dude here. Then you got the dude with the fro here. And then you got Mama Sasquatch or Dada Sasquatch with his baby Sasquatch. And then you got the monkey guy dude. And then you got the booger or the trollish looking thing with its freaking Fu Manchu hat and his blonde hair, his big ugly black eyes that so many people reported seeing with this whitest face. Then you got this thing here. It looks like two bulging white eyes or boobs, one of the two. And then you got this freaking thing and its nose and its eyes and its red head. And then you got this thing right here with another thing in front of it. There's like this sad looking, some people call it Bigfoot thing. And then you got the lizard dude thing right here. And then you got the coyote wolf dog guy thing here. But no, then going up here, we got the cat guy or girl thing going on top of the troll. And then on top of that, we got the dog. Or is it a dog? One thing for certain, it's got, it looks like whiskers. Unless it's simply just from the hair from this entity. And then it goes on and on and on. But I'm telling you, this is an amazing photo. I mean, look at the all-seeing eye. Look at that thing. Look at that. 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 It's like a representation of different spirits in that locality that people have been just generalizing as Sasquatch and Bigfoot. Now, you say that's my opinion, and I understand if you say that's my opinion, but I can qualify that opinion by saying that I've seen now and listened to so many people, one way or the other, talk about seeing Bigfoot, and very few of them are saying that it's 100% an ape. They're apish looking, humanoid looking, blah, blah, blah. What does it mean? It just basically means that it has two arms and two legs, and it's built like kind of a human, right? But really, is it? What is really going on? You know, human beings are an interesting creation by God. If you would take off just the limbs, and with the right support, you can still live. You'd be called Bob, right? You'd be bobbing up and down. But you know, and you could still reproduce because all you need is your mouth and your bottom end and your genitals. Eat, eliminate, excrete, produce. What are we really? I know we're creating God's image, but I don't think we even understand what that means exactly, if we're honest. I know we go back to the scriptures and we read it, but we miss a lot of things based on our own biases. And we're all guilty of that. We're all guilty of it. But from my own bias and from my own experience and what my limited knowledge is, this thing looks like an all-seeing eye that you should find on a totem pole. This thing looks like some spirit with a fro. This probably in reality has another spirit on top of it in front. But this one is your totally black entity, shadow person. I don't know. I don't believe it's a shadow person. I think it's more in line with what we call a Sasquatch, all hairy. Then we got this frickin' thing. Once again, this is the branch. So you got to look at the head, the two dark eyes. Okay, you got the arm reaching out. And then you got once again, the freakiest of freaks that people have seen that will scare the living daylights out of you. And that's the white-headed booger Bigfoot thing that we've seen or reports seeing. The one I saw had a leathery looking face. But it was a big face. At least it appeared that way as it projected out of a freaking dead tree. Along with his buddies. And there was a lot of his buddies. I'm telling you, whenever you see one of these things, it ain't ever going to be alone. It's like a vortex, a whirlwind, something that I don't like the word tunnel or portal because that's still the new age Luciferian nonsense that they want you to believe in the witchcraft. I think they know there's something even more spectacular than a portal. Life saw, what on stage? We're just actors, or we're knowing, wittingly or unwittingly, knowing or not knowing participants. Are there projections in front of us that can be I'm just rambling at this point, but the thing is, these things are real. Whatever this is, it is real. The Native Americans knew it was real, North America, and also in Central America. That's Randall's signature to that picture, which is pretty cool. So this is the picture in its entirety. What a freaking freak show it is. I just want you to focus on this guy right here for now. And then as you focus on that thing, then move to the left of it, or maybe it's right or left, the heads, and then focus on the right, and you're going to see even freakier things than this thing. And this thing's pretty damn freaky. And of course, then there's the troll doll looking Bigfoot thingies. You know, there's him right there. I mean, you can't even miss. If you miss that thing, there's 2 eyes, there's the nose, there's the mouth. It's kind of chewing on a branch or something, and there's its forehead. You know, it's got to look like, you know, something straight out of the Addams Family. Makes me wish I never was named last name my Adams. Sometimes. Dun, 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 dun. All I ever wanted was a beautiful woman. And just, that's all I want. I just want a beautiful woman and just make love to her. I don't want to do all this stuff, God. Why can't I just have a beautiful woman and just make love to her and make little pretty babies and just... Anyways, right here is a very fascinating entity. Right here, right here. I mean, that thing just stands out like a sore thumb. What the hell is this? What the hell is it? I wish I had someone to talk to. I wish somebody knew what the heck is really going on. Let's be honest. Those of us who are doing this kind of research and gotten to this point have to admit, we don't know what the hell's going on. All I can say is these things left me alone after they have 3 days of attacks by calling on the name, the blood of Jesus Christ. So these things recognize who Jesus is. These things are the one things that why I really believe that to Jesus is real. Because these things honor it. I got crap on my hand. I don't know what that is and where it came from. Fish food or something. Anyways. Now, I am someone who loves nature, and I love animals, and I love the outdoors. And I've spent a lot of time, in fact, if I could, if it was my choice, that's where I would be. Because I really, outside of making love to a pretty woman, the rest of the world kind of sucks. Let's just be honest about it. I mean, for me, I try to get into the sports thing. I played sports, and it was just one of the dumbest things in the world is to be a spectator watching other people live their lives. That's my opinion. And don't get me wrong, I do appreciate their great athletic ability, and I wish I could do that. So especially now that I have MS, I really appreciate the amazing things that a human being can do with the body. But in the end of the day, they don't give 2 hoots about me, and so why should I worry too much about them, right? Sports, politics. Well, it's political theater, and if you haven't figured that out yet, and you need to, because what you're watching is a grand distraction, because they're not going to tell you the truth about what's going on at all. They got their own agenda, and part of their agenda has always been that between the ruling classes, yes, there always has been class warfare, and there always will be. The same people that are warring against us are the ones that convince you and I that there is no such a thing. And then if you do bring it up, then you're a communist or you're this, that, or socialist. I ain't any of it. I gave up on politics a while ago in the last election, the national election. I didn't even bother because I realized I didn't even know who my electoral college representative was, and that my vote was going to matter at all. It's just their grand distraction to get you and I to be divided about something else. We better get real about something. And I'm going to tell you something. The spiritual realm is real. It's a hell of a lot more real than television. It's a hell of a lot more real than Hollywood movies, although they give hints about it. It's a hell of a lot more real than watching people play football. Not to say there's anything wrong with watching football, and I used to be a big, especially college ball fanatic, but then I realized I was being steered like a freaking dumb cow. And I was paying attention to people that didn't give two rats about me and did not truly represent my worldview. So I had to go find out for once what my worldview is. And what my worldview has become is that these things are frickin' real. What these things are, you and I have been told is a Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Because you've been told that by especially the national media and the press, it's a safe bet, but that's not what we're dealing with. It's stuff like this that makes you want to get freaking high. Or you wonder if you're the one that's high. Because my goodness, what the hell is that? I hope you can see clearly enough to at least see the outline of the eyes. And there's actually a pupil here. Look like a freaking bug, people. Here in this face, in this Fu Manchu headdress with this long Benjamin Franklin hair next to his monkey buddy right here. We're going to work on this one for a little bit. But beforehand, I guess I'll look at a few. I'm going to take a break. It's kind of overwhelming. I mean, what the hell is this? I mean, it's almost like there's an eye, but then there's this. Either this thing is a fro thing, or this thing is some leaning trollish thing. I don't know. That thing has to be an eyeball. I mean, it cannot get any more obvious that there's an eyeball staring at him, staring at Randy. And it's popping out and only can be seen by the tree trunk leaning over. In a diagonal angle. What the hell's going on? Not only that, there's like this alien thing right here. What the hell's this a thing? I'm sorry if I'm swearing, but I'm kind of tired of all the BS. I'm just kind of tired of it all. Now, I know there's a few people like myself that have been looking kind of seriously into this area. I think there's a group of that few people that know exactly what's going on, and they are playing us like a fiddle, a weeping harp. But then there's us who are coming so close because we're not initiated officially in their little groups. Hopefully the spiritual realm will wake us up to what's going on and let other people know. Because while they're fighting wars and blood sacrifices to these things that apparently are not the same things as what's in the Bible, Because if we take Jesus' word seriously and we do believe that he's real, then he conquered the devil already. And this makes it very clear the world's not going to end. Satan and his demons were conquered. And we're dealing with something that's completely different. And some of these things are pure evil. And you'll know it because you'll go through hell because of them. Neck aches and headaches, seeing them, having them manifest in your paintings and your wall, having them manifest in your neighbor's yard and around it. But you can call on the name of Jesus, believe it or not. And I didn't believe it either until I had to do it. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, these things really do recognize and honor the name of Jesus, the only begotten, the Son of God. And it has nothing to do with religion, because if you're religious minded and you're totally religious, you're going to miss what's self-evident, apparently, right in front of us, as long as you have a camera. Which strangely enough captures these things. Just a plain old camera, a cell phone camera, or otherwise. So for us to figure this out, it's quite clear to me, it's self-evident that the same bozos that fake the moon landing can also know what's going on here. So they have to make up all sorts of things like pareidolia. So when somebody like us sees this or finds out that this stuff is real, we can be dismissed as being nuts. But the problem is, we're not nuts. It's the madmen themselves that have convinced the sane men that they're nuts. The same people that we are today, at one time, they pay big money for them to live as hermits. If you got too close to reality, the ruling elite come around and put you in some cave or in their front yard, their backyard, on a chain and call you a hermit. We don't want these people to get out into the public, because they might find out what we're really all about. Now, you can dismiss this all you want. You can go through the total, nightmare of cognitive dissonance once again. But at some point, there's a reason why you're here, and at some point, you're going to have to get real about what's going on. We're all going to have to do that. And it's not just, I'm talking to myself too. I mean, we have no clue what's going on. The witches really don't. They think they do. The sorcerers and shamans know a little bit more, but they really don't know what's going on. Clearly, our pastors and the reverends and priests and the priestcraft of our culture, if they do know what's going on, aren't telling us. Well, here's something not to argue about or fight about. Either there's something there or there isn't. Simple as that. If you believe there's nothing there, then there's not much I can do for you. But if you think, or if you have eyes to see as I do, then it is self-evident that we're dealing with something that is not what was taught in our biology classes or in Sunday school or on mass media. We are so mind controlled and so out of touch with reality. I mean, this thing is so freaking weird. This one right here, this troll, this ogre thing, this Fu Manchu thing with the long white hair. If you flip this picture around, Then you got this cartoonish looking woman thing with bulging eyes. And when you mess around with the color, the head turns pink, like flesh. Can you imagine what a modern day, truly authentic representation of what we know today of a totem pole? It would be these faces that would be on it. The true representation of it. But apparently, even the shamans and the ruling class, or the rulers, the parents, the fathers, the priestcraft of even Native Americans had to make sure that the average person didn't know what they knew. So they would give you a totem pole that looks like this, so that you wouldn't really know exactly what to look for. Odds are, if I were to do some research on these images of totem poles, I bet you I can find the true entities behind them along the wood lines. Interesting that most of these totem poles, too, are put in like a grove or an opening in the woods near their camp that was opened. And for instance, it's interesting that we prefer, if we're honest, if given a chance, to live in a home that's surrounded by grass than it's been full of trees. For practical reasons, but also these spirits might have something to do with why it's more practical to have a home in a more open space than being surrounded by a bunch of trees. And I'm talking about like the roots ruining the foundation, ruining the roof, the humidity, the water stays. It goes on and on and on. You can't grow grass yourself. You can't grow anything else. These things represent the darkness, the shadows within the woods, the trees. I don't know if you ever noticed, but being in a really dense forest, so there might be a lot of life, there's not a lot to sustain you. Unless you want to dig around for grubs and mushrooms, which gets old real fast, right? I guess you could shoot squirrels, but you can have more of a diversity of plants if the more you have sun. Sometimes I wonder what we're doing, at least the ruling elites, as far as wiping out the rainforest and all the other forests. The virgin stuff had more to do with these things than it had to do with some being madmen. Could it be possible that, and this is a strange stretch and only speculation, that the clearing away of a lot of this stuff actually allowed the light, the life, sun rays, direct sun rays, and the power and light of God to grow things? And that these things have some kind of hindrance in growth, whether it's spiritually, mentally, physically. And that these things can do stuff to you, like cause you when you're walking out in the woods to piss blood and come home and piss blood for weeks. Thank you very much. How do I know that? Because that happened to me. And it never happened before. So there's something going on here, and I ain't buying the official story that this is about eagles, and that's some kind of wolf or bear, and that's supposed to be some freaking eagle, and that's just a chipmunk, right? And then that one's supposed to be some kind of fox. I am sorry, this is not the case. So if you want to grow in this research, you do have to take a look honestly at what is being said in plain sight. Just like everything else in this world, it seems to always be hidden in plain sight. And until someone trains you to see what is real out there, you don't know. So you look at a bank and with all its architecture, and the best thing you can say is got Greco-Roman influence. Naively, not knowing that there's also like the apotheosis in the Washington Capitol and the glorification and deification of a man named George Washington. It's all mind control. I'm not knocking the United States, by the way. I am an American. I know I don't. I've tried living in foreign countries, and for the most part, we don't fit. And there's a good reason for that. We're raised to be American, and actually, I'm pretty patriotic. I'm so patriotic that I'm willing to call BS, and I'm not interested for in the moment to play in their sandbox. But what I am interested in knowing about is what are these things? Because this is not the figment of my imagination. This is not pareidolia. And this is not something that I was taught in biology or even from all the Bigfoot shows out there on the internet and on television that don't address this at all. Here's another fascinating one of Randy's, excuse me. That's the reason I said Bob's, because I see Bobby there. Bone carb. Say Bobby. There you go. We'll call. And here's another example of a living, dynamic, spiritual totem pole. Yeah, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not. So I've taken a couple images so far. That short, it's 8-second video, but I mean, you can see one right here. This head's just sticking boldly right out of the freaking tree. So I just go back and you can see a little shit. You know, there's something there. Just something don't quite look like the tree, right? See, zoom in a little bit. And you don't need fancy equipment or anything else. Anybody can do this. And you start looking and there's something there. It doesn't quite fit. Something right there. I mean, what's the freaking eyeball for? Why are there always these stinking eyes? Look at that thing. What is it? And what's the thing in front of it? And what's that thing? And what's that thing? And people are going to say, oh, it's because of magnification. Yeah. And it's, distortion from, being magnified again. You know what? BS. There is something going on in that 8-second video. And that same thing I witnessed in many places, not many, but I mean a few places, because I've already gone to many places. But whether it's a park or whether it's a preserve or whether it's next door to a ravine, next door to a shopping mall. More importantly, it's got to have, for some reason, restaurants or grocery stores, but I don't know how they eat these things and why they would eat them. But for some reason, Bigfoot likes Little Caesar pizza. Go figure. So if you want to feed the grassman and Bigfoot, go get yourself a cheese pizza and take a $5 cheese pizza and start throwing pieces at it. It'll come out. This is a fascinating one from Amber. Sorry, Amber, for the delay. Trying to get back. Which one do I want to? I think I want to break down this image some more. This one. I stopped this one. But this one actually has the image of the dude, the red-headed things poking over the branch, which is fascinating that he even fit. That Randy was led to go here and look at this thing, and it moves, and it either has fingers right here or something else next to it. But you can this thing. This one, this is crazy. This is from the video. This is what I did. This is what I stopped. And we're going to look at this thing, and we're really going to try to break it down and see what the heck is this thing with the black eyes, and what are these things? They look like fingers. Fingers or ears or something. I don't know what the hell's going on. Sometimes I wonder if I just got too much time on my hands. Why am I doing this? My Father, there's like 1,000 million other things. I know why I'm doing this, because this is the key, really, a link, if you will, a key to help unlock the mystery of our life and why things happen the way they do. You can disagree with me all you want. I really don't care. Really don't. Because at this point, after all the images I've captured, and now when I'm seeing other people coming out who've done it for a while, just like me, for a few years or more, it's the same story. It's not just a entity. It's not just some ape running around. And by the way, I don't worship these things, and I don't think these things are even ever going to be care about us or be our friend. I think these things actually despise us. I think that we're a huge threat to them for some reason or another. And if we're not, and they really like us, and I want to know what the hell they are and why is this? How could they be so much more elusive than an animal itself? Now you can start to see there's the two eyes, the nose. I honestly think that's its hand. I think it's got freaky, big looking, comical, cartoonish like fingers. What's up, Bear? So I want you guys to think about that when we're going to work on this image. But I just want you to think about a couple things here. With this entity, we're going to slowly figure out what the eyes are. I honestly think this is part of its head. It's got a red head, and these are its fingers. And maybe big ears. And so we're dealing with some comical looking thing that is not what we truly understand it to be. Now, mind you, this thing actually moved in the video. And so I'm just getting pictures of it, a picture of it. But this is the two eyes and its nose pushed into the tree, and we'll go from there. Meantime, I think what we're going to learn about, at least from Don K. Preston, we're going to learn a little bit of listening to him about this, what Jesus did to Satan. And so, I made the error of thinking all these things are flat out demons. I'm now coming to the conclusion that these things are not all demons, although they're very demonic and evil looking. There are some that I think are maybe better disposition or caring than others. But I also don't think that they're as smart as we like to think they are. This is a very strange image, but let's just remember, just so we'll go back to the good picture of Randy's. You can see so many things in this. What the hell is that? I'll give you some inspiration. Look at that again. Wow. I don't know if I should work on the one I found or work on this one, because this one's pretty obvious. And it might be easier to work on. Is it, by the way, is that I don't know. Anyways, you're probably tired of listening to me, and I'm certainly tired of listening to myself. So let's listen to somebody who's a hell of a lot smarter than me. Oh yeah, I forgot something. I got to mention something else. See if I can find it. So, acquaintance of mine, I guess a friend, somebody that's definitely, I think he's a friend. Wanted to be a friend. Went to concert watching Slide Down, I guess is the name of this band. Shine Down is what it is. They got a song called Monsters. And this is what it says. Now, this guy, it looks like he's like creeping up at age like me. Yeah. He's, I don't know, but it says, good for you, you fooled everybody. Good for you, you fooled everyone. Good for you, now you're somebody. Good for you, you fooled everyone. Leave your weapon on the table, wrap it in burlap, barely able. Don't get angry, don't discourage. Take a shot of liquid courage. 'Cause my monsters are real, and they trained how to kill. And there's no coming back, and they just laugh at how I feel. These monsters can fight, and they'll never say die, and there's no going back. If I get trapped, I'll never heal. Yeah, my monsters are real. Then he goes on, leave your weapons on the table, or wrapped in burlap, barely able. Call a doctor, say a prayer, choose a God, small g, you think is there, 'cause my monsters are real. And I like to say that my monsters are real too. And it is clear that Randy's monsters are real. And that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. And we tie it in with the truth of what's being said in the Bible and what other people culture are saying. Clearly, we are so delusional we cannot even see what's in front of our face anymore. What are the blinders? I think we're so blind to what's going on. I don't know if it's just for our protection or it's for their protection, or both.